This is what we're going to be doing for lessons for the next few weeks. We will have some interactive parts, but I think mostly it's going to be me talking over a presentation, and then you can comment on the post or send me a direct email if you have any problems. I think that's the best way because some of you might not be in the country, maybe you want to work at a different time. So unless you particularly want video conferencing, I think this is going to be a better way. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at today is a bit of work that I asked you to look at over Chinese New Year, which was about financial motivators. So we've looked at financial theories, so Taylor, Maslow, Mayo, and Hertzberg, and now we're going to look at what I would call practical motivation. So what actual things can a business do in order to get that drive and get better results, more work, more productivity out of their workers? Okay, so the first things we're going to run through is you should have done this independently, but just to check off and make sure you understand each one are the financial motivators. Okay, and the key things are like we've got on screen here in red. What is it? How should it motivate workers? How likely is it to be effective? Are there any issues? So I just want to talk briefly about each of these. And then we might move on to the non-financial. It depends how long I've been speaking. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is piecework, obviously connected to Taylor, so you should already know about that. So that is extra payment per unit produced. So we're going to be using this in the primary sector or the secondary sector. And if you can produce more, you're going to get paid more. So if you can produce 10, then you would get 10 lots of piece rate. If you could produce 13 because you're more skilled or you're faster or you're more focused, then you can get 13 times the piece rate if that's the amount that you produced. Okay, so then that's going to encourage people to work harder. It's going to encourage people to work longer, perhaps do overtime, because the more they produce, the more they get paid. However, that doesn't put any emphasis on quality. It doesn't put any emphasis on the standard of what they're producing. And of course, as we know in developed countries, the primary and secondary sector is very, very small. Most economies are 60–70% based on the tertiary sector. So this does not translate at all into the tertiary sector. So it might work well in factories, it might work well in farms, it might work well with very simple tasks. So for example, picking fruit, the more fruit you pick, the more you get paid. It's going to encourage you to work harder. But in any kind of sophisticated job, like we see in the 21st century, it's not going to be that useful and it's not going to be that relevant. Okay, so commission. This is one that I feel is much more useful and much more applicable to 2020. So this is similar to piecework or piece rates in that you get paid extra for every sale that you make. So now instantly we are talking about the tertiary sector. We could be talking about selling cars, selling phone contracts, selling houses, but the more you sell, the bigger commission. You could get a flat commission. So if you get if you sell a phone contract to a customer, you might get a $500 commission. If you sell a house, you might get 1% commission on the value of the house. Okay, so it really encourages people to complete sales, work hard, and really, push those sales through the line, over the line, so to speak. Okay, so how should it motivate workers? Well, it's going to encourage them to work harder, be more, meet more clients, make more sales, because the more sales they make, the bigger their pay is going to be. Problems? Well, we're talking pushy sales techniques, lying, maybe quite a toxic culture where people are stealing customers off each other, and really trying to push that sale through. Oh, it's only if you don't buy it today, it's going to be gone forever. Okay, so that kind of like unethical and pushy sales technique, which customers might not appreciate. But it is used widely. I know many people that work on commission. Obviously, that's on top of a basic wage. So if you've made no sales, a common misconception is that if you make no sales, you get no pay. No, that's illegal because you've still got to pay minimum wage as a minimum. So you get your basic pay, and then for every sale, you would get commission on top of that. Okay? Number 3, a bonus. So this could be a loyalty bonus. So maybe you've worked for the business for 5 years. Maybe it's an end of the financial year bonus or a Christmas bonus. So it could be linked to loyalty, it could be linked to performance, or it could just be a thank you because the whole business has done really well this financial year. Okay, so makes people feel appreciated, makes people feel recognized perhaps. but it's going to be expensive because obviously paying out money is expensive, and might be hard to recognize who actually deserves the bonus. If you're giving your bonus to all workers, then maybe some workers are really deserving of that, some workers are less deserving, but everybody gets the same perhaps. So how do you really differentiate who deserves the bonus and who doesn't deserve the bonus? Okay. Number 4, profit share. So this would be a share of the profits. So it could be a percentage of your salary, or just a 3% of the profits maybe the business has made in that year, split up in proportion to your salary. So if the worker believes that they can have a direct impact on profit, then that might motivate them to work harder, because if they believe that their profit's bigger, their share is going to be bigger, then that's a direct link of performance and finance. Okay, but again, how do you differentiate who's really worked extra? It really is just this type of bonus, really. A profit share is really a type of bonus, so you've got a lot of the same problems and limitations. Okay, performance-related pay, again, similar to a bonus, but maybe this is based on KPIs, so key performance indicators. So maybe you would give a manager or a worker some monthly or quarterly or annually specific targets, maybe sales, maybe, I don't know, output targets, and if they're met and those milestones, those KPIs, those key performance indicators are met, then you could reward that worker with a bonus. Okay, but again, we've got a lot of issues between maybe teamwork, who really put the work in to achieve those performance indicators. That could be difficult in some jobs. And how do you measure performance in some jobs? Okay, so my job, do you measure that by the amount of A's that my students get? Well, what if I didn't do a good job? I just had really bright students. So it's used extensively in business, but not perfect. It needs to be carefully implemented. Otherwise, the workers could feel they're getting shortchanged. They're not getting enough recognition for their work, or that it's too easy to get the bonus. And that's it. They're the 5 ones you need to know. You might know more from GCSE, but for Edexcel AS, they're the 5 financial motivators. Okay, so now you can go back to this sheet here, double check. We've got Tim's here. Sorry, Tim. He's done that because he's a top student, top lad. So make sure that you've filled in the table for each box. Ooh, so it's like real good work. Good job, Tim. Have a look through. That was homework. So if you haven't done it, you're already behind. You need to do this immediately because this was homework for Chinese New Year. And make sure that you've got all those little nuances, all the little things that I've just discussed in this video. Okay, I'm worried this video is getting too long, so I think we'll cut this off for financial, and I'll make a second one for the non-financial motivators, which we'll talk about in the next video. Okay, so once you've done that, in fact, I'll put this on the spreadsheet. Once that worksheet's finished, if you'd like me to check it, in fact, I can check it anyway because it's an assignment. So turn it green if you have finished this off as part of your homework. I'll have a quick look through as well. But yeah, any problems, obviously email me during the lesson time today, but that should do it. Okay, thank you.